It is 11:47 p.m. in a hospital corridor in Dallas, Texas. You are 52 years old. You own 43 restaurants across 6 states, a company valued at $180 million, and right now your hands will not stop shaking. Your assistant is texting you numbers from a board meeting you just walked out of. Your daughter is texting you nothing at all because she stopped expecting you to answer 3 years ago. A doctor is walking toward you with a folder, and you realize you cannot remember the last time you ate a full meal sitting down. This is level 7. But to understand how you got here, and what it actually cost, we have to start at level 1, 36 years earlier, with your hands in a sink full of dirty plates. There are 7 levels between that sink and this hallway. And here is the number that should scare you. 90% of people who start in that sink never make it past level 2. You did. Let's find out what that really means. You are 16 years old. It's a Friday night in a strip mall Italian restaurant outside Phoenix, and you are the dishwasher, $7.25 an hour, no benefits, no future anyone has promised you. The kitchen is 104 degrees. Your hands are cracked from the industrial detergent. The head cook, a man named Ruiz, who has worked this line for 22 years, tosses a pan into your sink and says, without even looking at you, "Kid, you want to actually cook one day? Or you want to wash dishes till you're 40 like me?" You don't answer because you don't know yet. You go home that night smelling like grease and bleach, and your mother asks if you're eating enough. You lie and say yes. The structural problem at level 1 is invisible to almost everyone who watches this from the outside. There is no ladder here. There is only the exhaustion, and whether you keep showing up after it. You are 19. You've moved up to prep cook, then line cook, $11 an hour, 6 shifts a week, and you have taught yourself knife skills from videos at 2 a.m. because nobody on staff has time to teach you anything for free. Your girlfriend at the time breaks up with you over a phone call because, in her words, you're never actually here, even when you're here. You clock 90 hours some weeks. The restaurant owner, a stressed man named Carl who is drowning in his own debt, hands you extra shifts and says, "You're the only one I trust not to burn the place down, so I need you Saturday too." You take it, because $11 an hour times extra hours is the only raise anyone is offering you. This is the level where most people quit. Not because the work is too hard, but because the reward is too small for how much of your life it's already taking. You are 24. You are a sous chef now, $48,000 a year, and for the first time you have something that looks like a title. But the structural problem at level 3 is that you now carry 2 jobs at once. You still cook, and you also manage 12 people who resent you a little for being promoted over them. One night your executive chef, a man named Antoine, screams at you in front of the entire line because a dish came back wrong. And later, alone in the walk-in freezer, you catch your breath and just stand there for a full minute so nobody sees your face. You miss your father's 60th birthday because Saturday is the restaurant's biggest night of the year, and there is no one to cover you. He doesn't say anything about it. That silence stays with you longer than any yelling would have. You are 29. You are an executive chef now, $85,000 a year, your name printed on the menu, food critics occasionally mentioning you by name. From the outside, this looks like a rival. From the inside, you are working 70-hour weeks. Your blood pressure is already a problem your doctor has flagged twice, and you have started drinking 2 glasses of wine after every closing shift just to fall asleep before 3 a.m. Your business partner, a quiet investor named Reyes who put up the capital for your first real restaurant, sits you down and says, "You cook like a genius, and you run numbers like someone who's never seen a spreadsheet. If you want to own something, that has to change, or someone else will own it instead of you." You realize for the first time that talent alone was never going to be enough. If you have ever worked a job where the harder you climbed, the more invisible your effort became, hit subscribe, because this whole series is about exactly that cost. You are 34. You now own your first restaurant outright, $220,000 a year in revenue, your name on the lease, your signature on the loan. This is the level where the math finally becomes brutal in a new way. You personally guaranteed $400,000 in debt to open the doors, and for the first 18 months you pay yourself less than your own line cooks make. Your wife, watching you fall asleep at the kitchen table over invoices at midnight, says quietly, "I didn't marry a restaurant. I feel like I'm raising our son alone." You hear her. You don't change anything for another year, because the restaurant, not your marriage, is the thing that will collapse first if you look away. 2 years later, she leaves and takes half your evenings and all of your weekends with her in the custody agreement. Level 5 gave you an asset. It also quietly took your family. You are 41. You now operate 6 locations, $2.3 million in annual revenue, a small logo people are starting to recognize around the city. You are no longer a chef. You are, in practice, a landlord of chaos. HR problems, health inspections, a walk-in cooler that fails at location 4 the same week a manager at location 2 gets accused of stealing from the register. Your operations director, a sharp woman named Priya you hired away from a hotel chain, tells you flatly in a meeting, "You built something that runs without you in the kitchen, but it still can't run without you answering your phone at midnight. That's not a business yet. That's just a bigger version of the sink." The structural problem here is the one nobody warns founders about. Scale does not remove the burden, it just changes its shape and increases its stakes. Now you are 52, back in that hospital corridor from the opening, $180 million on paper, 43 locations, a private equity firm circling to buy 60% of your company for enough money that you would never need to work again. The doctor's folder is about early-stage heart disease, brought on, he says carefully, by chronic stress accumulation probably over decades. Your daughter, 22 now, finally calls back, not to ask how you are, but to tell you she's not coming to Thanksgiving, because in her words, texted flatly, you were never really there for the ones before it either. This is the number the outside world sees, $180 million. This is the number it actually cost, one marriage, one daughter who has learned not to expect you, and a heart that is failing at 52 instead of 75. Here is the recontextualization. In that boardroom you walked out of tonight, the private equity partner offering to buy you out is 37 years old, has never washed a single dish in his life, has never worked a single line shift, and will make more from this one transaction than you made in your first 20 years combined. He runs the numbers. He does not run the risk. He was never in the freezer catching his breath, never missed a birthday, never signed a personal guarantee on $400,000. The real hierarchy was never chef below owner below CEO. It was always the person who bleeds for the business versus the person who simply owns a percentage of it. You spent 36 years becoming the person who bleeds. He spent 6 months on a spreadsheet becoming the person who profits most cleanly from that blood. That is the level above level 7 that almost nobody in this industry ever shows you, because it isn't a job title, it's a different relationship to risk entirely. You sign the deal 3 weeks later, 60% of the company, $108 million to you personally, and you keep the title of founder, mostly as a courtesy. You sit in your car afterward in the parking lot of the very first location you ever opened, now closed for renovation, and you think about Ruiz, the cook who asked you at 16 if you actually wanted to cook, or wanted to wash dishes forever. You realize you never really answered that question. You just kept climbing past it. Success in this industry was never a straight ladder to a number. It was a series of exchanges, each one trading a piece of your life for the next title, and nobody at any level ever tells you what the final total will be until you're already the one holding the folder in the hallway. If this is the empire, the dishwasher, the cook, the chef, the owner, the operator, the CEO, and the quiet buyer above them all, then ask yourself which level you're standing on right now and whether you know what it's already costing you. Drop your current level in the comments. Honestly, no titles needed. Next episode in this series, we go inside the hidden hierarchy of a major tech company, from the unpaid intern writing code at 2 a.m. to the founder who takes the company public and never sees his own children awake. Subscribe so you don't miss what that ladder really costs.